Question number 5, name of Deputy Clare Daly.
Minister, I'm conscious that you're the third minister in this brief, but since I've been elected to this stall, I've been raising about the adoption information and tracing legislation on behalf of the 50,000 adopted persons in Ireland who don't have an automatic right to their birth certs, listing their original names and their parents' details, a right that other people take for granted. Now, we have been promised this every year. It's on the way, but I think it's now looking very likely that it won't be delivered in the lifetime of this government unless you decide to support the Adoption Identity and Information Bill put forward by Senator Van Turnout in the Senate recently, and I would ask your opinion on that because I think it can offer a way forward to ensure the rights of these citizens.
Thank you. Minister.
Well, I suppose I'd have to respond to the opening statement made by the Deputy. It will not be the case that this issue will not be addressed during the lifetime of this government. It very definitely will. Can I say to you the House obviously will be aware that the Adoption Identity Information Bill 2014, introduced by Senator Avril Power, Senator Gillian Van Turnout and Senator Fatima Lahini-Eames, will be debated in the Shannon later this evening. My department has considered the draft bill and notes that there is much to be commended in the draft bill, and in relation to the areas of concern that it addresses, it is very much in line with the tenor of the draft bill being prepared by my department. On this basis, I will not be opposing the bill, but I understand that some aspects of the bill may not give full regard to all of the constitutional issues which are engaged. It is being fully reviewed as part of the ongoing work of the drafting of my own proposed bill on adoption, information and tracing. I acknowledge that the current position in Ireland is that there is no legal basis for the provision of services in regard to information and tracing for those affected by adoption. I am taking a positive and proactive approach to introduce measures to address this situation. In this context, I have instigated the following policy and operational developments. Firstly, the development of an adoption, information and tracing general scheme and heads of bill, which will provide for statutory access to adoption records and birth information. This work is well underway. In fact, there have been 2 previous iterations of heads of bill before I came into the department. The heads will provide access to access to records for birth parents and adopted persons insofar as is possible in line with legal advices. I am proposing as progressive an approach as is possible within the significant legal and operational complexities which arise in giving effect to this objective. The proposed legislation will provide for, amongst other things, placing the National Adoption Contact Preference Register on a statutory basis, arranging for the management of adoption records, setting out the information to be provided and circumstances in which it can be provided, both for retrospective and prospective adoptions, and providing for information and training support services.
Thank you. If the balance of the remaining part of your question reply will appear in the official record. Deputy Clare Daly.
I suppose my understanding that this government will be a lot more short-lived maybe than the Minister thinks, so time is kind of running out for you. But look, there is a bigger picture here, and I am cognizant of the fact that we've had similar promises before. I'm not in any way personally, blaming you for that, but like every year we're told that heads of bill and this is near fruition, and I'm a little bit concerned even like that department officials would complement a lot of aspects in the Shannon bill, but these deputies, if you like, did this off their own bat without the resources that the department would have to bring forward this legislation. It will kind of lead you to believe, why was there such a delay in the first place? And I'm kind of concerned as well about the Minister talking about what is possible, because the biggest impediment to this has been, in my opinion, an over-conservative interpretation of the IoT versus B ruling, where in that case it was deemed a right to privacy has been interpreted by this government and others as being sort of closing the door on people's rights to get information, where in actual fact what the Supreme Court said was that the right should be balanced with people's right to identity. It doesn't trump it. There has to be a balance, and this bill, to my mind, provides the balance to do that, that brings Ireland into compliance with the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child and the recognition in the European Court of Human Rights and the Irish Constitution, in fact, in terms of a person's identity. So I actually still hold out that it would be more expedient to support this bill now, considered that it's been drafted to get us to the next stage.
Well, I'll just say a couple of things. I think the Taoiseach has made it very clear that this government will go to the end of its term. The Deputy Cross may have other ideas, and she's entitled to entertain those ideas. From the point of view of this particular issue, and given the timing that we are here, with no disrespect to the Deputy, who's very much engaged in this area, I feel a certain deference to the three senators to have the debate in the Seanad on the issue rather than here and preempt it. Plus, of course, time doesn't allow in any event to go through the bill in the manner and the issues therein that have to be addressed. But I do want to thank them for the work they have done. I'd like to just say that it's my intention to have the general scheme and heads of bill finalised as soon as possible and submitted for the consideration of government in advance of referral to the Oireachtas Committee on Health and Children. This will be the subject of consultation with all relevant government departments in advance. And on the issue of consultation, I have met with quite a number of groups in this regard. In parallel, I have requested officials to commence an examination of operational arrangements for the preservation of and access to adoption records, both to secure existing service provision and to make ready for any proposed new legislation. I am conscious that the draft bill seeks to legislate for some of the matters that I am proposing to address in the general scheme and heads of the Adoption Information and Tracing Bill. I have given the matter careful consideration, and I look forward to constructive debate on this important issue in the Seanad later this evening.